Hello, everybody, and welcome to another terrific Tuesday episode of Coach Leah's After the Whistle. Today's lineup features three remarkable men who I proudly regard as comrades, lifelong friends, and even extended family. Their unwavering dedication to servant leadership leaves me truly amazed and inspired. I'm sure they will leave the same effect on you too. Let's go! Again, welcome to Coach Leah's After the Whistle. I am your host, Coach Leah, and before we get into the show, I just want to do a couple trending topics and, of course, a shameless plug. I would love to make sure that you tune into the Conversation with Al McFarland weekdays at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time and on demand at youtube.com at Insight News MN. You can also catch the Conversation with Al McFarland on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Black Press USA channels. Now, on a little more serious note, I do want to send condolences and love and light in regards to the Hawaii wildfire disaster. Some of you may remember a recent featured guest of mine and a dear friend, former USA volleyball star and University of Hawaii alum, Dietary Collins Parker, who is currently the assistant volleyball coach at the University of Arizona. Her college roommate, while at a University of Hawaii, was affected by this terrible disaster. And, Deidre shared that, this is such an incredibly sad situation, that her college roommate lived there and that she did have to indeed evacuate, but is currently safe. Her family is safe. They're together. And, we're just really happy to know that there is that there has been no other tragedy to that family, and that they are all safe. I did receive an email from my emergency disaster response partners at Operation Blessing yesterday morning, and they really want people to not try to go to Hawaii to try to help. They want the first responders that are already on the islands to be able to use the resources that are there, the rental cars, the hotels, the food, anything that is needed for them to be able to do the job of helping the people to recover, to meet the needs of people that that have unmet needs at this time. But you can help from wherever you are. And so you can go to operationblessing.com, and there's tons of ways where that you can see how you can help just from right where you are. And so again, we send love and light to everybody that is in Hawaii and that is recovering from that disaster at this time. And so with that, I would love for us to pull in my first guest today, Reverend Chris Moore. And let me tell you a little bit about this cat, because he's pretty dope. Okay. So Reverend Chris Moore is a towering 6'8" figure who transitioned from a Division I basketball player to a boys varsity assistant basketball coach at Aldine Senior High School in the Houston Metroplex. With a heart as massive as his presence, Coach Moore utilizes his God-given gifts to uplift athletes and unlock their potential, proving that everything truly is bigger in Texas. His diverse life journey, including a communications degree from Texas Southern University, equips him to connect with people of all backgrounds. As he aspires to become a master communicator in service of the Lord's people, guided by his unwavering faith, Chris is dedicated to fulfilling his divine calling as a fisher of people. Welcome, Chris, to Coach Leah's After the Whistle.
Hey, Coach Leah, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course, of course. You know what's funny? I often laugh. Of course, both of us attend Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church in Houston, Texas, and that's where we met, of course. And it's funny because everyone calls us both Coach.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
don't even say anything else. And so when we're
Uh,
around each other, we both look around.
Stick around. Yeah, yeah,
Because we're not quite sure who they're talking about at that
yeah.
moment, which is so hilarious. But
When
I
you're a
love
coach,
it.
people just forget your name sometimes. You're just coach. So
No
everybody's
doubt.
looking around like everybody's turning their head when they say coach. So
Yeah,
I'm used
no,
to it now.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So I'm sure now that you're also a father, if anybody says dad and you're around, and you look around too, you know.
Well, yeah, I'm Phoenix's daddy. That's Phoenix.
Right.
He's my oldest right here that y'all see on the screen. I'm Phoenix's daddy. I'm no longer Christopher Moore. I'm Phoenix's daddy.
Correct. Oh yeah,
Uh,
you
yeah.
absolutely lose your own personal identity when we have these amazing children. That's yeah, you're just starting that journey. You know, I'm at the tail end of that, but
Yes,
I
ma'am.
still am all my children's there. You know that. Other than Coach Leah, I really have no identity.
Right, right.
Just a mama. So yeah, as moms, we go through that a lot too. You know, we as soon as somebody says mom, every woman that has children is looking around. It's
Right,
hilarious. It's
right, right.
hilarious.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
hilarious. So listen, I often and will always say that it's my belief that I am 1 degree of separation from pretty much anybody on the planet. And
Hmm.
so our 1 degree of separation is pretty obvious. Texas Southern University, outside of, Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, but Texas Southern University and the athletics department, because both of us have been participants with that athletic department
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
in some shape or form. Uh, Being an assistant coach at Texas Southern is actually what brought me to Houston.
Mm.
And so, I always say that it wasn't necessarily that job at Texas Southern, but definitely God knew I just needed to be in Houston. And so I've been doing I think some pretty amazing things that have had some real growth in my spiritual walk has been exponential since
Right.
being in Houston, and so I'm totally giving Houston the credit for that.
Mm.
And so, talk about just a little bit before we get into some of these other questions. Talk about your journey coming from Dallas and ending up at Texas Southern.
Sure, I would love to. Coming out of Dallas, Lancaster High School, represent the Tigers, orange and black. I got
Of
a
course.
scholarship to go to Arkansas State University to play basketball, and I stayed 2 years there, and I felt called in a different direction. And I ended up at Texas Southern University. They gave me a full ride, and I was just so blessed. I remember coming on the campus and seeing the cheerleaders and the dancers and hearing the band in the background, and I was like, oh wow, this is a black university. Oh, this is for me. And I just remember
Right.
like knowing that I was supposed to be in Houston, just like you were saying. And I transitioned here to Houston, continued to play basketball after sitting out a year. And I think that was a pivotal moment in my life where that one decision just set me up to even be at Wheeler Avenue and meeting you and meeting a lot of other people and building contacts. Even that decision led to me uh, uh, meeting people who would bring my children into the world. Let me just say it like that, right? My
Okay.
wife and my daughter's mother, and I'm blessed to have my family. And that one move just kind of set it up, and now I'm in ministry. So it was a good transition from Dallas to Jonesboro, Arkansas to now Houston, Texas.
Yes, yes.
Here with you
So,
now on your show.
oh yeah. So another way that I connect with what you're just saying is my pastor when I was a member of, or still sort of am a member of, Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church back in Minneapolis. When I had got the call that I was going to be, or the job here to be an assistant at Texas Southern University, I shared that with my pastor there, and he immediately recommended Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. He said, with your ministry and the type and where you're going with what you're doing, that is going to be a good fit for you. He did mention another church as well, saying that the two of them would probably be the best fit, but he was spot on with Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, and it was the first church I visited, and
Right.
the rest is history. I didn't have to church hop. I visited that other church one time,
Right.
and that was pretty much it. And
Yeah.
so it was divine. And then right away, as the assistant at Texas Southern, we as a team started being very active at Wheeler, and so we did volunteer work as a team, and it was just it was very seamless, I would say. Yeah, it was very, very seamless. So yeah, we definitely have that in common where being at Texas Southern allowed for us to be very active and immersed in Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church.
Right, right.
And our
And I can say,
pastor, the Dr. Marcus D. Cosby, give him another shout out. I try
yeah,
to
baby.
as much as I can because I'm really grateful for that ministry and for his leadership.
Yes, ma'am.
So
I can definitely share some of that story in my own personal life. I can definitely relate to it because it's the same thing that happened to me when I went to Jonesboro, Arkansas. I didn't go to church. Like I was raised up in the church, but I just kind of stopped going. I lost my connection, so to speak. I still believed. I just didn't find a church. It was limited, and I just stayed home, right? And when I got to Houston, I asked somebody, "Where is a good church?" And they said, "Oh, you can go right up the street." I said, "Up the street?" I guess they expected I was supposed to know what that was. They said, "Oh, go to Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I went, and it was like, because the way they said it, I didn't know it was going to be that impactful. And they was like, "Oh,
right.
go up the street." I went up to Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, and I was blown away, literally blown away. And I was like, "Wow." I didn't have to church hop either. I went to Wheeler Avenue one time and stayed. And I went to a couple of other churches when I was invited, probably for a special event or something like that. But I
Sure.
went to church one time and stayed. Yeah.
Sure. Well, and I'll tell you that's probably another reason how we connected too, because I would see you all the time.
Hmm.
Because when
Hmm.
when you're active, the Wheeler Avenue is considered a mega church, but it doesn't feel like that because
Hmm.
you can connect, especially through the different ministries and becoming involved, right?
Right,
And
right, right.
so again, we would see each other all the time,
All
and,
the
and
time.
that's a testament to when you're being immersed in not being just a pew parishioner, as
Right.
people try to call it, and just
Yep.
actually getting involved. And so that leads me into this question that I want to ask you about your ministry and how is it different from ministry in the church, your personal ministry?
Well, I think that my ministry is geared toward my strengths, which is also involved in athletics and reaching people's, helping people reach their full potential, their athletic potential. Uh, so it's different because the pulpit is extended. It's not just the traditional, hey, come on Sundays and receive a word. It's more, let's go on this journey, be a part of this team, this unit, this family. Let's come together. Let's agree. Let's set goals. Let me chart where you are. Let me help you reach higher than where you are now. Let me push your boundaries. Let me make you uncomfortable a little bit. Let me strengthen you and you strengthen me. Um, and I get as much from the ministry as my boys get. So while I'm sharpening them, they're really sharpening me. Like I told them yesterday, I'm living through you. So y'all are doing me a favor by working hard, by giving me everything you got, because that's the way I played the game. And when you go and dunk that basketball, I did it. So I get a chance to live in this ministry once again on the court. And it's different because sometimes you can't just you have to kind of disguise and respect other people's beliefs. I can't just shower you with the word of God in this on this platform. I have to do a lot of modeling. I have to show you more than teach you. I'm going to teach through modeling, I should say, versus just giving you a word from the Lord. I have to kind of be the word of the Lord and build relationships. And through those avenues, conversation pops up and people ask questions, and I'm there to answer the questions. So it's a lot of more doing versus speaking.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So talk about the role that your wife plays in your life as a man of God.
Oh man, she plays such a significant role. I mean, that's how I know that she was for me for sure, because not only did I meet her in church, but she has the same interest that I have. So in seminary, when I'm thinking about things and I'm studying things, she's right over my shoulder looking uh, and listening, and I'm teaching her and she's teaching me. And when I'm
Nice.
writing something, I say, "Hey, babe, check this out. What do you think? What does this say to you?" And she'll read it and say, no, don't say that. That's too much. I said, "Okay, let me tweak that." So she's like the angel that's sitting on my shoulder that says, "Hey, do that," versus. And I'm on the other side. It's just her right here. It's me right here, right? Because I want to go and say this. And she's like, no, 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 no. Let's turn that down. All right, let's show more love. Let's do this. Let's do that. She's patient. She takes care of everything that's going on at home. She loves on the children. She loves on me. Uh, Hugs, kisses. I mean, because I come home stressed sometime, and she's always there to just help me share the burden of just day to day life. So
Sure,
she's
sure.
she's my support system.
Nice, nice. I think it's good for younger people, younger couples to hear the dynamics of that type of love. You know, that
Mm,
type of commitment towards each other. I want to pivot. I'm going to take a quick pivot. I want to
sure.
talk a little bit about something else that we have in common. One of our favorite players, LeBron James.
Yeah, Boogie. LeBron.
I have been a fan of LeBron since when he was still in high school. He's from
Yeah.
the Akron area, and Akron, Ohio. The University of Akron was in the conference that I played in, the Ohio Valley Conference, back in the day, a long time ago, over 35 years ago. But I have fond memories of Akron and the Cleveland area from when we would go up there and play. And so when this kid was, popping on the scene, and I had an idea of where he was coming from, I was always just fascinated by how he was so, and to me, still guided by very wise counsel.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And like his clique and the people that are around him have just been very good about giving him information and support that basically has kept him out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? And
I
some of
do.
the things that I know another one of the players that you admire, who was another somebody from the Ohio Valley Conference, John Morant. You know, he's kind of not necessarily doing the things that people would consider worthy of being a role model. So talk about why you think there's a difference so much between how LeBron has in his journey compared to John Morant.
I think that's a very good question. Well, I think LeBron is definitely one of the best players that ever played this game, but he has a particular personality that's easy to kind of mesh with. I would say for me, he he's a role model in that he is a leader on the court and outside of the court. There's nothing about LeBron that says, "Hey, I'm tough, I'm this, I'm that." Yeah, he may dunk and go like this, but he just seems to be just such an approachable guy. Um, and I think he's motivated not by just being successful, but doing for others. I think, and this is just my opinion, uh, I like John Morant, but I'm not sure what his circle is like. And I don't want
Sure.
to pass judgment, but I think that him being young, he could benefit from some different role models or just characters in his life, because I mean some of the decisions that he's making is, and I'm not any better, so let me just put that out there. But um I just wish I could get inside of his brain to figure out what's going on with Josh. Um, Giant
Right.
seems to be gravitating to the streets, and I
Right.
understand, because in our society, and sometimes I hate to say this, but in our culture, it's something that we glorify,
Right.
uh, and to want to not be removed is something that a lot of people go through, because you don't want to be a sellout. You don't want to be identified as somebody who made it and never came back, right?
Sure. Sure.
Um, but I'm just not sure what motivates John Morant to do what
Hmm.
he does. But I think
Right.
that what motivates LeBron is being a role model for his sons,
Sure.
being a public figure, and also doing for others. And I just think John Morant's motivation probably comes from another source. I'm just not sure what that is.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, listen, again, we can talk hours
Yeah.
about just all these different topics and our favorite players and our faith walk and just, being former athletes and all that stuff. But I want to do a wrap up with you in this. And first of all, promise me that you'll come back to visit us on Coach Leah's After the Whistle, because again, you have so much that you can share, and I would love to know how your season's going over there at Aldine, and we can do an update with that. You'll give me that promise?
I promise. Just let me know. Give me
Okay.
the heads up.
All right. Well, listen. So before you go, I want you to take a look at, you've shared, and we have each of our guests share an inspirational quote. We want Coach Leah's After the Whistle to be an inspiration, so we're going to be very intentional. So I want you to read your inspirational quote that you shared, which is actually scripture, and then talk to us about why that's so important for you.
Sure, sure. Philippians 4:13, friends and family, reads like this: I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. For me, that does exactly what it says. When I feel weak, it strengthens me to be reminded that yes, I'm human, and in my own power, I am limited. And when strengthened, I consider myself limitless, because I'm blessed to have God in my life, Jesus in my life, Spirit in my heart, that enables me to do good works. It enables me to do what I cannot do in my own power. And sometimes you may feel like that in life. So for me, that was one of the first scriptures that I learned as a child, and I still remember to this day. I don't know what it was that stuck out about this when I was such a young kid, but to know that I can do all things gives me hope, and it helps me to keep the faith whenever I have trouble, because I know that God walks with me. Not to preach to y'all, but uh, that's why that I don't want to go there, but that's why I love that quote, because it's real for me.
Sure.
I can do all
Sure.
things through Christ. Not
Well,
by
I would.
myself, but through
Yeah,
Christ.
no doubt, no doubt. Now, listen. So, if you do want to check out a couple of Reverend Chris's sermons, well, one sermon and one Bible study for sure that have happened very, very recently, go to the Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, wheelerbc.org, and you can click on, or you can go to the Wheeler BC app, WABC Media app, and his Bible study lesson, which was phenomenal, and his most recent sermon is there. And so definitely check him out. Chris, this has been an amazing time with you. I'm so looking forward to what is in store for your future. And then I'm also looking forward to you coming back to see us during season 2. How's that?
Sure. I would be honored. I appreciate all the love y'all made me look so good in your intro, and I just appreciate it so much. Thank
Oh,
you.
well, it's all true and it's all good. So, okay, well, Chris is getting out of here, and wasn't Reverend Moore a blast? An absolute blast. Well, now let's welcome our next guest, the incredible founder and dynamo, Mitchell Brock. Mitchell is a certified nutrition coach and fitness professional. Mitchell's journey is a remarkable testament to perseverance and knowledge. From a minor league football player to health advocate, he's not only shed over 100 pounds, wow, but also elevated his health through the very methods he's here to share with all of us today. Now, let's give a warm welcome to the phenomenal Mitchell Brock. What's up, Mitch?
What is going on, Coach Leah? How are you, my dear?
Wow, I'm so excited to be with you here today. I tell people all the time that meeting people and having people in your life, it's never a coincidence, but you just never know if it's just for a season or if it's for a lifetime. That's one thing you just don't know. And I will definitely consider you a lifetime friend. So we'll see what God says, but that's what I say.
He said it already. He told me to tell you. I just forgot to tell you.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
what's
well,
up. That's what's
yeah,
up. And then yes, indeed. And then of course, our one degree of separation is the fact that we're both Midwesterners. You being from the Detroit, and
right.
myself being from Minneapolis. And then what's been really fun in regards to our one degree of separation is that our teams, the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings, are rivals. And so that's been real
Indeed,
fun.
indeed. I know I'm gonna hear from you at least twice a year, and that's when the Lions and the Vikings play each other.
Yes.
We'll send a text or something and be like, or yeah. So it's always fun. Always fun.
Always. And so we had a chance, your comrade and partner is Richard Walker, who was recently on the show.
Mhm.
And so he had a chance to break down how we first met standing outside the Lombardi Awards, waiting for
Yep.
our
Waiting
vehicle.
on our vehicles.
Yes, it was too funny. And then me being hoodwinked into becoming a, a guest host on Bring the Pain Sports Talk, where you served as the phenomenal host. I was always just so enamored with just everything. Like your like, how did you parlay your being a former football player to being in front of the camera and just it being feeling and looking so natural?
So how it started was ironically, well, it was at the Bear Bryant Award. And shout out to Rich Walker.
Shout
It
out.
Yeah, shout out to Rich Walker. So I was doing color commentary for the minor league football league that I was playing in, and he was a halftime guest on the show, and I was pretty good at color commentating, and
Yeah.
I was okay. And he said, "Hey man, I'm gonna start a sports talk show. Why don't you come on the show? I want you to be on the show." And I was like, "All right, cool." So we did that, and then we thought that was it. So Bear Bryant, he was covering Bear Bryant Awards, and he called me. He say, "Man, my cameraman backed out on me. I need somebody to just come run camera for me. Are you free?" I'm like, "Bear Bryant Award? Absolutely, I'm free." So I showed
Hmm.
up, and he was like, I'm recording him while he does the intros and outros, and he goes, "You want to do something real quick?" "Yeah, why not?" I got the mic and his
It
eyes
just
got
flowed.
that big. He say, "Do that again." I did it
Hmm.
again. Boom. So I said all that to say, is just literally a natural gift from the Lord.
Yeah,
I've never been to
yeah.
any schooling, any training. It's just literally a natural gift.
Well, and it's a gift, but then you do your research, and of course when you're students of the game, or you're just a sports junkie like we are,
Hmm.
some things just become innately, you're innately able to do, but you do the work though,
For
Mitch.
sure.
I don't want to discredit or allow for anybody to think that it's just I just sit down and it's just things just start flowing. You do the work,
It
like,
does.
what I'm saying. So,
I
because
do.
this is
I
work,
do. I
people.
do. For sure. I do my now. I will say that I do my research and I do my due diligence. But as far as being natural on camera, that's the gift. I I, I,
Sure. Oh,
I promise
absolutely.
you, I got nothing to do with that. But but I do my due diligence for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, I wanted just to also mention that while we served as co-host, and I see this, I see a pattern here, because that's the same thing Richard did to me. Oh, I just want you to come and be a guest on the show, and then the next thing you know, I'm a guest host.
Correct.
Next thing I know, we're doing a spinoff. The next thing
Correct.
I know, I'm just like, what? And so I'm grateful that Richard saw that within me to try to pull it back out, because trust me, I had been out of this thing for well over 20 years. And then I also want to thank you for sharing some of your shine, basically making me kind of look good too, because you were looking great. So I was just like, I'm just going to sit over here next to Mitch
Oh,
while he sounds all smart and
no.
says all the great things.
Stop it. Stop it, Leah. Stop
But
it.
listen, but I want to know a little bit more about your football career. So talk about your football career, and like you said, you were doing some minor league stuff. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so like most kids that played football, I started when I was 10 years old. Believe it or not, I was actually a baseball player.
I,
Baseball is
I could believe that.
baseball is actually my first love.
Okay.
I started playing baseball at 6. I started playing football at 10, and you know, Pee Wee, high school. Then I went on to Kentucky State University, and then I came home from college, and I still wanted to play. So one of my college buddies called and said, "Hey man, I saw this thing in the paper about this minor league team that's having tryouts." I just come home from college. I was 20 years old. I was still in shape, still wanted to play.
Hmm.
So I went and tried out, and lo and behold, I made the team. I started my first year. I was 20 years old, starting in a minor league with grown men. Um,
Wow.
I wind up getting rookie of the year. I wind up
Nice.
making all league, and that was the beginning of it. And I, had some couple of stints in minor league football. Then I went and played some arena football, and didn't quite get the NFL looks that I wanted, because they don't look too hard at a 5'10" offensive or defensive lineman in the NFL. Let's just call it what it is.
So, okay, right.
But at the level I played at, I excelled, and I played 16 years, but I played 20 seasons, because I know the way minor
Hmm.
league football works is you would go straight from spring league
Hmm.
to summer league, and
Hmm.
then the 4 years I played arena ball, I went straight into arena ball. So
Hmm.
there were 5 years where I played two or two and a half football seasons in one calendar year,
Wow.
which is why my body is broken down right now.
That part.
Which is why Arthur be riding me like a horse right now.
that
But
that part. So that might be actually a really good segue into, and tell me if you can relate to this. I went through a situation where I put on a lot of weight. My knees were so shot, and not necessarily from the sports, but I have osteoarthritis that runs in our family really, really bad. And so, so I couldn't work out as much. And so now the weight's packing on, and so it's like a catch-22. You know, it's like I want to work out, but I can't because my knees hurt, and then my knees hurt because I'm putting on the weight, and I can't work out. And so, you know, I'm on a plan now. I have 2 doctors that I'm working with that have been just tremendous, and 3 doctors actually. One is an orthopedic surgeon, and then I've got a total wellness physician, and then I also have my primary. Shout out to all of them. But it's been a journey. It's been a journey, especially when you're used to being in a certain shape, in certain cardiovascular condition. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so, talk to me about your journey and how you got actually into the nutrition sport side of things as well.
So, speaking of osteoarthritis, I've had osteoarthritis in both hips for like the past 6 years. So I feel your pain, and literally feel your pain. And I
Literally.
just, and I just discovered 2 weeks ago today, as a matter of fact, today's Tuesday.
Hmm.
2 weeks ago today, I woke up and I couldn't lift my left arm. Literally, 2 weeks ago at this time, I couldn't do this.
Oh,
So I go to the
wow.
doctor. They do an X-ray and say you've got arthritis and an impingement. So now the arthritis is in my left shoulder as well.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
I know all about osteoarthritis, and I know what
Hmm.
it's from. I mean,
Hmm.
I was a lineman, which meant I squatted for 16 years.
Hmm.
When
Hmm.
I played baseball, I was a catcher, which means I did what?
Mm.
I squatted every
Squatted.
play.
Hmm.
So my hips
Hmm.
are shot. Most football players lose their knees, they lose their ankles, but for me, it's my hips. My hips are shot,
Wow.
right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
how I got into nutrition is that picture. That picture that's on the screen right now. I saw that picture and I said, "What in God's name is happening right now? Who is that?"
Mm.
I was still playing football at the time, but I
Mm.
was like, I was 30 years old in that picture. And on that picture, I was 369 pounds on that picture.
Goodness gracious.
And
Okay.
as of
Hmm.
this morning, I was 253 pounds and 6 ounces
Oh.
as of this morning. So I looked at that picture and I said, no. I go to the doctor. They're like, yeah, you got high blood. Put me on blood pressure meds. He's like, you got high blood pressure. You got your A1C is high, and you're borderline diabetic.
Mm.
Everything was high. And I'm
Hmm.
30 years old.
Mm.
I'm the
Hmm.
starting center on a minor league football team,
Hmm.
and I'm on all these medications
Hmm.
at 30. Nah, son. That ain't no. So I started to study nutrition. I'd been
Hmm.
through all the fad diets. I did the keto. Well, we old enough to remember Atkins.
Yes. Hmm.
Atkins it was like the keto of like the 80s, early 90s, right?
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
did I did the Atkins, I did the keto, I did the paleo, I did the vegan, I did it all. And I
Okay.
lost
Hmm.
weight. But the second I stopped doing those things, what happened? The
Pack back
weight came
on.
right back. So
Hmm.
I started to study nutrition, the science of nutrition.
Mm.
And
Nice.
through studying it, my weight started to come down,
Hmm.
and it just kept going. It just kept going, and it's borderline obsession for me now.
Obsessive,
It
right?
is. You remember how big I used to be, and when I met you, I had already lost like 50 pounds, as big as I
Wow.
was then, right?
Sure. Sure.
Mhm.
So talk about the dot fit. Talk to me about that.
So Dot Fit is a nutrition and fitness organization that specializes in just that nutrition,
Hmm.
shakes, um, things of that nature. And I went and got and they have a fitness certification as well. So I got my fitness certification through Dot Fit, but I got my nutritional certification through NASM, which is the National Academy of Sports Medicine.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
So yeah, that I'm very familiar with the
NASM.
NASM. Yeah, just
Mhm.
not as familiar with dot fits, but I'm wanting to know more about like what's your regime? How are you supporting others in their journeys as well?
So through my studies, My wife, I'll give her the credit. She say, you know, of course, when you start losing weight, and people remember how big I used to be. When you start losing weight, the first thing people are like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I was just giving it away. I was giving it away, and I still give it away. If people email me or ask me questions, I'll still answer questions. But my wife say, "Why don't you get certified and start a business?" I think she's on to something there.
Hmm.
So I started Brock Nutrition, and now this is part of what I do. But I still give away just as much as I sell.
I
Because it's
bet.
just because I love doing it.
Sure.
I can talk about the way we can talk about sports.
Yes.
I can now talk about nutrition the way I talk about sports.
Oh, I love it.
I love it. I see
Yes.
people on the streets, and they'll see my T-shirt. It's got my website on the back, and they'll ask me about it, and I get to going. So
Hmm.
it's my mission. I think that's my calling now. As Coach Mo said, he found out what his calling was.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
feel like my calling is to show people that you don't have to do fad diets. All you have to do is eat a balanced nutrition plan, and you will lose weight. Now, here's the thing. I tell
Hmm.
people all the time, my mission at Brock Nutrition is not to help you lose weight. My mission at Brock Nutrition is to get you to get healthy. And when you get healthy, weight loss is a byproduct of that.
No doubt.
You
No
know how many
apps. Yep.
you know how many pills I take now?
Let me guess. Zero.
Not one. Not one.
Yep. I
I'm a
guessed right.
47-year-old black man that's taking no pills.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us how we can find out more about Brock Nutrition.
So you can find Brock Nutrition on all social media platforms at Brock Nutrition, or on Instagram it's Brock_nutrition. My website is brocknutrition.com. And as a matter of fact, for Coach Leah's viewers, I am offering all Coach Leah's viewers free consultations. So
Oh,
if you go to brocknutrition.com, enter the promo code after the whistle, you can get your free consultation with Brock Nutrition. And as a matter of fact, the first 10 people who sign up will get a free Brock Nutrition water bottle and wristband.
what? I'm
I've
signing
come
up right
bearing
away because
gifts.
I want, look, I want one.
I've come bearing gifts.
Oh my God, that is so generous of you and so nice.
Of
Thank you so much.
Of
Thank you
course.
so
Of course.
much. Oh
It's my
my
pleasure.
gosh.
It's my pleasure.
So, again, this time is just going by so fast, and I've just been so excited about this day coming, and it's just time is just like moving. So, you also have got a promise that you'll come back and visit. I would love for us to literally do an entire segment on kind of like a lesson of the steps, and if you would so oblige us, I think that would be really really cool to do.
Anytime. Anytime.
That would
Just
be
let me
really,
know.
really cool. So, of course, before I let you get out of here from us, again, Coach Leah's After the Whistle, we want to be an inspiration to all of our viewers, all of our listeners, people who read about Coach Leah's After the Whistle. Tell us your inspirational quote and then tell us why you selected that.
So my inspirational quote comes from a man named Mike Tyson. You may have heard
We,
of him.
we might know him, right?
May have heard of him.
May have
Mike
heard of him.
says, discipline is doing what you hate to do, but nonetheless doing it like you love it.
That's nice. Why'd you select that?
Because I've been playing sports all my life, but guess what? I hate working out. I do.
Right.
I've never liked working out. I like the results of it, and I did it because I had to do it. Still,
Mm-hmm.
do you think
Mm-hmm.
I like getting up at 5:30 in the morning and walk running 6 miles? No,
Right.
I don't. Do you think I like going in that gym and exhausting myself to the point where sometimes I can't move the next morning? I don't. But I know it's what has to be done to achieve what I'm trying to achieve. So that's where the discipline. And my wife tells me all the time, you are literally the most disciplined person I know. And that keeps me going. That's why I love
Yeah.
that quote so much.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I would agree with her. I feel like you are very, very disciplined, and I like having those types of people in my life. And again, I'm so honored to be your friend and sister. And um, again, promise me you'll be back soon. Well,
100%.
okay, so 100. You heard it here, folks.
100%.
Now be sure that you do all the things he said so that you can win those amazing gifts that he's offering to our Coach Leah's After the Whistle viewers and listeners. And again, thank you so much for being with us today. And we look forward to seeing you again for season 2.
Thank you for having me, Leah. I appreciate you. And you know I love you.
Love you back. All
All righty.
right. All right. So Mitch is getting out of here. And for my last guest today, I would say that I will tell you that the order of appearance is by how long I've known these individuals. This particular person, Brett McNeal, is somebody that I've known almost all my life. He is a lifelong friend. I've known him since I was a little girl in Minneapolis, Minnesota. One thing that people that are around our age will know is that we have a very small population of, especially back then, of African Americans, and pretty much anybody of our age, we all know each other. Well, something else that's really cool about being from there is many of us have extended our families, and so you're literally going to probably have quite a few people that you're not a blood relative with that you will call cousin. And so I want to tell you a little bit about Brett McNeal. He is a certified master athletic administrator and district assistant director of athletics for Minneapolis Public Schools. He is dedicated to fostering success and growth with a focus on leadership, integrity, inclusivity, and a positive environment. He empowers young individuals, and his impactful mentoring has led to achievements like head coaching roles, earning scholarships, and being in pro drafts. Now, he's backed by a rich, very rich network and a plethora of awards. Brett inspires through his journey. So let me bring in Brett McNeal. What's going on, Brett?
Hey, what's going on, Leah? Always good to see you. And congratulations and thank you for having me.
Oh my goodness, this is an honor. This is such an honor. Now, many of you, if any of you either subscribe to or get Insight News, you may have seen a recent article that I wrote about Brett and his in Insight News congratulating him on his new role. So how's it going so far?
So far, so good. You know, I'm still doing what I love to do. So when I come to work, it's now work.
Right.
I'm having fun.
Oh, I bet. I know I called, we spoke one day and you were on the golf course, which I know you love playing golf, but you were with another dear friend of mine, Dr. Leo Lewis.
I was. He had his annual fundraising golf tournament. So every year I try to support him in that because most of us that have come out of athletics understand what others have raised.
Right, right. And you were mentioning all the others that went out to support him in that effort. So it was just probably a nice homecoming of sorts for all of you guys, huh?
We had a lot of fun. You know, when you think about, and I'm learning this more and more, it just naturally happened to me. It wasn't because other former athletes were golfing. But when we were growing up, one of my assistant coaches tried to get me to golf. I wouldn't have it. It just felt like it was just a slow, wasteful game. But one of the things he always said to me was, if you golf, you become a better basketball player. And the minute I made the decision to stop golfing, two of my best long-term friends, who you know, Doug Carter and Tony Adams, took me out golfing. And I couldn't hit the ball off the tee, right? I couldn't hit the ball 10 yards. And I picked the ball up and threw it up the field, and I said, "Look, man, come on, let's go." And from that day on, I was hooked. This is the hardest game I've ever played, and I played baseball,
That's
football,
what they tell me.
basketball, and did pretty good at all those. Matter of fact, this game was so hard, I was hooked. And so
Right,
I've been
right.
golfing ever since. And I still remember the day when I accidentally now hit the first ball and it took off 150 yards. Then it was over.
Wow.
I put the same effort into golf that I did when I was learning to play basketball.
Wow. So I want to talk about that a little
But
bit
what I've learned
because
over the years,
go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was just going to say that you meet you. I heard you talking about 1, 2, 3 degrees of separation. Once I started golfing, I realized how many people I know, how extensive my network has become, and how that network extends across different disciplines and different fields of study. And so it
Hmm.
became a great place for us to come together and have some of those professional conversations. You hear people say you're cutting deals, and you really are because you're learning things that helps you in your industry. You just have a
Hmm.
good perspective of people providing you knowledge information that assists you in our job. So yeah, I'm kind of glad I started playing it, and I wouldn't do, that's the body. Lord says it's time to stop, and the body breaks down. I'm looking forward to golfing into my 80s and 90s, like some of the other guys I play with.
Yes, yes, that's something that's just so beautiful to see. When you say that, I think of my uncle Earl Bowman and that whole crew from back in the day, and all those guys, out golfing and having a good time over at Theodore Worth Park, and just so many memories. So I want to talk about our first degree of separation. I mean, I already talked about the fact that we're both from Minneapolis, but one of the things that how we connect is back in the day playing over at Hospitality House in North Commons. And me being one of the only girls on the court, and you guys actually letting me play with y'all.
Well, what I love about sports, it brings people together, right? Male,
Hmm.
female, doesn't matter, young or old. That's what I got out of playing. And particularly, like you mentioned earlier, in our community, it was so small. We knew everybody. So it was really
Hmm.
hard to exclude. And I think that what I enjoyed playing with you and other the ladies that played, number one, you all were very good athletes. But most people don't know my introduction to basketball came from a family that lived behind us, and they were ladies. When we
Hmm.
lived on 26th and Thomas, and
Hmm.
they were shooting hoops in their backyard. We were probably 8 years old at the time, and
Hmm.
they invited us to play. And I literally learned how to shoot, trying to dribble and all that in the backyard with young ladies.
So, what
But
made
North
you
Carolina
just?
was a beat, well known across the country. There are quite a few very good players, male and female. Yeah, there's a little lag in there. I'm sorry. It could be my computer.
Yeah, no, no, no worries, no worries. So let's fast forward a bit to now you are one of the best players, high school players in the country. I was honored to be able to see your basically your entire journey, and just about I was just so proud of you and just how you not only were a phenomenal player, but just how you just embraced being just a good person and just just pretty much everyone's friend. I can't think of anybody that would say Brett McNeal. I don't like that cat. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, and it's there's something to that in just knowing that by by being a good person and just being a lover of people, it goes a long way. How do you
Yeah,
think that that
I
transcended
believe a
into your
lot of it was my
accolades?
upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for one, I think it's how my family we were raised in a church. We used to go to church every day, and even in the workplace now, your greatest asset are your people, right? You can't do
Mm-hmm.
anything without somebody else. And so, you know, God has put people in our lives to impact each other. I believe that
Mm-hmm.
we need to be able to love someone, and we need to be loved by somebody. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of the reasons why God has us as a social creature. And so I've always understood, you treat people the way you want to be treated. You're
Mm-hmm.
paying
Mm-hmm.
forward and you're paying back. I want to touch a little bit on it. When I say you're paying forward, I'm reaching out to other people and other people's children, so
Right.
that I can help them be the best that they can be. But I also know that what I do to someone else's child, someone else is looking over my children. So I want to make sure that
Right.
they're being treated as well as I'm treating their people. And then I'm paying back because that's what we were taught. I'm basically honoring my mother and my father and my grandmother and all of my
Mm-hmm.
coaches and all of my mentors and all of those male and female folks that looked over me when I was coming up. So it's, you're paying forward and you're paying back. And it's the way for me to honor my community and honor those folks that poured into my life.
Right, right. So I have another question for you. Anybody that kind of knows your journey knows that you then, after high school, decided to play at Western Kentucky. Coach Clem Haskins recruited you out of Minneapolis to go down south. Now I went down south as well. I don't know about you, but I know I needed to be out of that snow and cold. That was for sure for college. But then Coach Haskins gets the job at the University of Minnesota, but you stay at Western. Talk to the people a little bit about that decision.
Well, I'm just going to be honest. I didn't think Minnesota recruited me at the time because I really wanted to stay home originally. But Clem Haskins and Dwayne Casey was the first coaches that actually recruited me. And
Mm-hmm.
so, again, honoring them for acknowledging my skill set and having faith in me that I could perform at that level and do some things at the Western Kentucky University. So when he came back, they had just had some challenges, some NCAA sanctions. And again, the way I was raised, you kind of want to avoid those challenges and those problems. But then my second year at Western, I was kind of the man, right? I was
Mm-hmm.
the new starting two guard on a team that was ranked eighth in the country. There's just no way I was going to do that,
Exactly.
right? For one, I wanted to prove
Mm-hmm.
to Clem that he recruited me to the right place. I wanted to prove to the world that I could play at that level, right? And I had a strong
Right.
desire uh, uh, to showcase my skill set and let people know that there are players in Minnesota. Because back then,
Yes.
no one kind of really knew about players in Minnesota, right? So then here we are, and there were a couple folks like you. Now talk about Doug and Tony and others that came out of that area. Jeff Robinson, there
Mm-hmm.
were a ton of male and female that earned Division One scholarships in athletics in those 2 years that we graduated. So that was a big issue for me to honor our community by leaving home and performing away from home.
Yes, and perform you did. And again, being able to kind of see it up close and personal a little bit, between the our seasons and all the responsibilities and obligations we have with that. It was really really great to be able to be that fan and big cousin on down the road over there in Tennessee. So yeah, that was a lot of fun back in the day. So oh my gosh, this time just goes by so fast on Coach Leah's After the Whistle. Um, just like my other guests, you've got to promise that you're going to come back and visit. I want to do a deeper dive into what's going on with Minneapolis athletics. I want to do a series actually, and want to support you there where we can highlight what's going on with Minneapolis athletics. And so if you can help me get that going, I would really appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. We are going to talk about as much information as I can so people obviously know what we're doing, but really highlight again Minneapolis, our school and our district, and the wonderful things that I would love to come back and do that.
So, of course, before we let you go, as Coach Leah's After the Whistle is an inspiration, we want this platform to be inspirational, and we ask all of you to tell us your favorite inspirational quote. If you can read yours and then tell us why it's so important to you. And yours is also scripture. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, there's a couple, but at this stage in my life, I moved to, I believe that as we get older, our job becomes more wisdom providing, more mentoring for other people. So it's let your speech be always with grace. So I'm gentle, seasoned with salt, at least have something positive to say. And then you may know how you are to answer any person that I'm talking to. And that's found in Colossians 4:6. So I'm trying to be that seasoned person that's always has a voice of wisdom provided for somebody so that I can say something to encourage them to be better. I'm very intentional about that. What can I say to help you become a better person, to move you in a positive direction, or answer you in such a way that you're walking away thought-provoking and how you can become a better person, help somebody else be as good as well. So that's become kind of my mantra, my purpose. Why am I here at this time and in this space?
Very, very, very nice. So, Brett, how can people find you on social media?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, so you can just find me by my name, Brett McNeal, right, which is probably easier. I do have a Facebook account. I'm not hiding. It's always just Brett McNeal. Reach out to me. And then if you're looking for me professionally, I kind of use my LinkedIn in that way. But my job, my email is brett.mcneal, right, at mpls.k12.mn.us. And I'll try to respond to folks 24 to 48 hours to be respectful of what they're looking for, what they need.
Very, very, very nice. Well, again, I'm so incredibly proud of you, and I know that we'll be able to do some fun work together here in the near future. And I thank you so much again for being one of our featured guests here on Coach Leah's After the Whistle. So I hope to see you soon.
Real.
All right, folks. Well, Brett's getting out of here, and this has been another amazing episode of Coach Leah's After the Whistle. Be sure to check us out next week. We're coming to the end of season 1, and then we'll go on a short hiatus, and we'll be bringing some phenomenal guests for season 2. Y'all have an amazing rest of your week. Bye-bye now.